Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be on fish broth, or we call this fish broth back home. And this is my brother's recipe, and in my opinion, I think he makes the best fish broth. So I wanted to share his recipe with you guys because I think everyone needs to taste this fish broth. It's the best. And fish broth is just a really light broth or a soup with different vegetables and fish. I like to use red fish in mine, and just any types of vegetables you want to add to it. Typically you would add carrots, ochroes or okra, green fig or green banana. You can add eddos, sweet potato, cassava, just anything you have on hand or anything you want to add to it. You don't want to add things that are gonna thicken up the sauce too much, because broth usually has a very thin sauce. It's like water, but it's highly seasoned. The fish is highly seasoned and it's really spicy, which is why they say it's good for a hangover. It's like a good reviver soup. Like if you're sick, it's something good to drink to boost you up. So I figured I'd share my brother's recipe with you guys. I asked him to give me it, and I actually filmed him doing the video on it, but he didn't speak in the video, so I figured I'd just take his recipe and I would make it and share it step by step with you guys. So if you want to see how I do it, then keep watching. So here's what you'll need to make the fish broth. I'm just gonna call out the ingredients, and everything with exact measurements will be listed in the description. I have about 2 pounds of fish here. This is red snapper. I got my fishmonger to just scale it, clean it, and cut it into steaks. You can, however, get it filleted so that there's no bones in there, especially if you're gonna cook this for kids. You don't want to risk having them getting a fish bone. Just be careful of feeding fish with bones to your kids. I have some pumpkin, some green seasoning. You'll find the recipe for this in the upper right hand corner. I have some celery leaf that's chopped. We're gonna finish up the broth with this. Some green onions or scallions, or we call this chive back home. This is also to finish up the dish with. Some chopped bandhania or culantro, also called beni. I have some more celery with the stalk chopped as well. 2 hot peppers. If you don't want all the heat but you do want the flavor, then you can just add the whole pepper to the pot and let it boil, and you won't get that heat that's gonna. You'll also need some pimento peppers, and this is what a pimento pepper is. And if you want the flavor but not the heat, then you can just boil it instead of cutting it up like how I did. It's very high in flavor, but it does not have a lot of heat. Sometimes you can get a pimento pepper that has heat, so if you do, just make sure you smell it before you use it, because sometimes it's really hot, sometimes you'll get mild ones. So just be careful when choosing out pimento peppers, because in Trinidad I actually cut a pimento pepper thinking, it's not gonna do me anything, and my entire 2 hands burned for like 8 hours. I scrubbed it with so many different things and it didn't work. I had to just sleep it out. So just be careful when choosing pimento peppers. Oh, I did. I have an onion that I chopped, some okras or ochroes as we call it back home, carrots that I just sliced into circular slices. I have this Grace fish tea soup. Usually my brother adds Maggi vegetable soup to his fish broth, and I'm trying to do his fish broth because I think it's the best. He usually uses Maggi, but I'm gonna use this fish flavored soup mix. And I'm gonna use this Swiss macaroni. It's a bit of a thicker pasta than spaghetti. I don't know if you guys could see. I'll show you all when I'm adding it to the pot. It's usually used to make Trinidad macaroni pie. So this is optional. You can also use elbows or whatever type of pasta you want to add. I have some green bananas or green figs and some potatoes and the reason why I have it in water is because when you peel the bananas or the figs and the potatoes, they tend to get black. So you have to submerge them in water so that they kind of keep their color, even though the figs are kind of already discolored. But that's okay, it's still gonna taste the same. And I just have some oil. I'm actually using some macadamia nut oil. You can use coconut oil or whatever type of oil you want to use. I find that the macadamia nut oil goes really well with fish, so that's why I'm using that. And I'm using some ketchup. Of course Trinidad ketchup would be perfect for this, but I have none, So maple Swiss matouks, perfect for this dish. So all we're going to do now is season up the fish, and then I'll show you guys the next step. So to season up the fish now, I'm just going to use some basic ingredients. So I'm going to use a little bit of salt. I'm using Himalayan pink salt. And I'm just going to hit it with some black pepper. You know, I like freshly ground black pepper. And I'm going to add most of this green seasoning. So I'm just going to keep a little bit just to add to the pot while it's cooking. Now you just want to give your fish a good stir. And I don't know if I mentioned, but to wash this, I just soaked it with 2 limes. You can use lemons if you want. Make sure that all that fishy scent goes away before you season it up. So I washed mine a few times just to make sure that scent is gone, and then it'll be good. So the fish looks wonderful and it smells amazing. So now you just want to let this sit for a while. It doesn't have to marinate or anything, but if you want, you can leave it for about an hour just to soak in all that seasoning. But I'm gonna cook mine right away. So let's go over to the pot to start making the fish broth. So you want to put your pot up on high heat and just add in the oil, whichever type of oil you're gonna use. Like I said, I'm gonna use some macadamia nut oil. So once your oil is nice and hot, add your onion. And you want to go straight in with your pimento peppers. Pepper. Carrot. The pumpkin. The okra. And try to use the young okras or the okras. And you want to wash the okra before you slice off the top and the tail, because it tends to get really slimy. So wash it first, make sure it's dry, and then cut it. Now you want to go ahead and add your provisions, the green fig and the aloo. If you did want to add some more, you can add sweet potato, Edos, whatever you want to add. I just find that it gets the broth too thick, and I don't like thick broth. I like it to be really watery. So after your vegetables have been frying for about 2 minutes, you're going to add your ketchup in. So I'm just going to let this saute for the next 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll come back. And you want to have some water heating up in a kettle or something, because we're going to add some boiling water to this to cover the vegetables. So it's been about 5 minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some really hot tap water or your boiling water. So it's been 5 minutes and I just added 2 cups of water from the tap, really hot water, or you can use your boiling water. So in total it's been 8 cups of water. So you just want to stir that in. The fish usually goes in last because that does not take too long to cook. So at this point, I'm actually going to go in with the celery leaf and the stalk. And you can add a little bit of salt as well. So now you just want to cover it and let it come up to a boil. And as soon as your vegetables start to cook, we'll add the fish in. So I'm going to cover it up and I'll see you guys in about 15 to 20 minutes. So it's been about 20 minutes now. And your provisions should be cooked by now. So the aloo is cooked. It just needs probably a little more boiling. The figs are cooked. The pumpkin and everything is cooked. So I'm going to add this fish flavored soup mix. This has a little bit of pasta in it as well. I'm just going to add a little more water. And I just had a little bit of water that was left in my blender, so I'm just going to add it to get all those seasonings out. I'm also going to add my reserved green seasoning. Now you want to add your macaroni pasta. So I'm actually not going to use too much, and what I like to do is just break it up like this. You can use some elbows if you want. So that's all I'm gonna add. I don't want to add too much. So just let that boil. And once your macaroni boils, then we'll add the fish in last. So after about 5 minutes now, your pasta is going to be about halfway. It's going to take 8 minutes for it to become al dente. So I'm going to add the fish in. Once the fish goes in, it's going to take about 5 to 8 minutes. So it's been about 8 minutes since I've added the fish in. And it looks perfectly cooked now. Don't be scared, but fish actually cooks really quickly, and then when we turn it off, it's going to be sitting in that hot liquid, so it's still going to continuously cook for a while. So I'm actually going to turn this off now. What you want to do is taste it for salt, pepper, or anything else. And I forgot to mention that you want to add some golden ray butter as well. I didn't mention that in the ingredient list, but I'll have it listed down below for you guys. So you're going to add the golden ray butter. You don't have to add this if you don't want to. In place of this, you can use French made butter or golden cream. It's sold in the West Indian aisle or in any West Indian store. So we're going to finish this up with some celery leaf, some chopped shadow beni or bandhania, and some green onions or scallions. So you're just gonna stir that in, and you can save this hot or you can wait for it to cool down. I'm gonna dig in right away. I love hot food, especially when it's steaming hot and it's gonna burn my mouth. That's the perfect way to eat it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Leave me your comments down below. This fish broth is perfect for a hangover. It's perfect for a lime, perfect for a cool day. It's actually gonna snow tomorrow, so I decided to plan ahead and make my fish broth early so that when the snow hits, I'm gonna have my fish broth ready and waiting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Leave me your comments down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to see all my latest videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Until I see you guys again, bye! One little tip I forgot to mention is that you can squeeze a little bit of lime juice over your broth when you're gonna eat it, or you can just cut a slice and put it in your soup, but I prefer not to, because when you wash it properly you don't get that really fishy smell or taste. So it's up to you how you want to serve it. So I just wanted to give you that tip, and if you wanted to squeeze some lime juice into the pot, you can also do that as well.